Nowadays, in advertising in East Asia, we are consumed to seeing skin that's overly white and glowing. We point to chains large as filters, even European American model replacing local faces in beauty and the fashion industry. Why is beauty in East Asia advertising no longer resembling East Asia? Why are advanced, modern, international always packaged in American style? In recent years, we constantly see European American models appearing in the scene of local brands when we see advertising. But we don't find why is it strange, and what exactly are these images quietly changing? This is not merely an aesthetic trend. It's a result of joint shaping by globalization and the post-colonial structures. As Western media and brand enter East Asia, the lifestyles and values from the West are constantly being introduced to local culture. Paul pointed out that the West is often constructed as a symbol of development, civilization, and modernity, while other regions are regarded as objects that need to be transformed or improved. This vice versus others binary structure is replicated in large quantities by advertising images. This makes Western aesthetics seems natural, also reasonable, even indispensable. Advertising is not merely about selling goods. It also focuses on cultural imagination. According to Althusser's perspective, advertising agencies are like ideological machines. They instill value in a seemingly natural way. In East Asia advertisements, fair skins, three-dimensional features, and European American makeup style are often used to symbolize success. However, the refinement and fashion along with this visual symbol, they are rapidly presented. This caused the audience to unconsciously internalize them as a better self. Meanwhile, algorithms and the filters also beauty apps further enforce the same ideal facial shape. It makes people accustomed to evaluating their bodies based on Western light standards. The beauty surveillance culture described by Elias and Gill continuously strengthens self-comparison and self-correction. From Foucault's perspective, this is a new form of normative power in daily life. People actively train themselves to become a subject that conform to dominant discourse. Our main argument is as follows. Advertising in East Asia is perpetuating a contemporary cultural hegemony based on the premise that modern equals Western. It's packaging Western aesthetic as an ideal. At the same time, it gets customers to internalize it as a part of their self-identity. When advertisement presents a high forehead, light skin complexion, and the mixed race makeup as symbols of success, confidence, and internalization. Furthermore, local culture and the physical characteristics are weakened, even used as areas that need improvements. At the same time, Movies gaze and the Hook's obsessional gaze help us to see who is being watched, who is defined as the ideal, who is forced to modify themselves to confirm the dominant gaze. This advertising strategy not only affects people how to perceive what is attractive, but also influence who is the ideal subject. When Western features become the visual language symbolizing success, local features are weakened. In fact, the advertisement is actually reshaping identity and value. Western aesthetics become the natural standard. East Asia features are tacitly regarded as needed to be changed or catch up. It is not only an aesthetic issue, but also an hidden continuation of post-colonial power. Images continuously tell the audience to become modern. One must be more like Western. This process ultimately shapes people's consumption behaviors. Paul pointed out that the Western and the other is a representational system based on the binary opposition. It constructs the Western as modern, developed, and urbanized, while positioning places outside of the Western as backward and inferior. In Dior 2018 J'adore perfume commercial, the protagonist walks slowly through the luxurious golden palace, wearing the metallic golden gown. The camera moves in slow motion across her profile and shoulders, highlighting her elongated figure and the sculpted facial features. Surrounded by shimmering light and soft music, her determined style projects both elegance and power. The golden light reflecting off the perfume bottle visually binds the ideas of golden beauty to her own image. The commercial rapidly emphasizes her typical Western features, high nose bridge, deep-set eyes, and a confident, composed expression. Through this myth-like visual language, the advertising presents her as an embodiment of an advanced, idealized beauty. She doesn't need to speak or interact with the environment. She simply is the representation of the higher level existence. This reflects the binary structure how described as position Western aesthetics as a center, defining them as the symbol of civilization and modernity. The West is naturalized as a standard and a destination of beauty. The binary system of the West and the other, that how described is further enforced and leading audience to internalize, often unconsciously, that beauty is Western. The ideal is Western, and the further worth pursuing is likewise despised as the Western modernity. According to Foucault, discourse does not merely describe the reality, it also defines what is normal and what is to be aspired to, thereby shaping people's subjectivity. In advertisement, the woman is shown with deep-set Western eyes, double eyelids, and a high nose bridge, and upturned lips, and slender legs. The visual are paired with elegant music, classical European interior design, and the scene of the woman lying in the bed of flower. Through these elements, luxury capitalism continuously tells the audience that it's the standard of beauty that aesthetic people are expected to pursue, namely the dominant Western beauty ideal. Within these advertising images, a fixed Western aesthetic is normalized. The discourse does not neutrally transmit information, it is embedded in structure of power. It dictates what is considered worthy of imitation, shaping the subject. While watching such as consumers subconsciously internalize this feature as a standard of beauty. The advertising not only generates desire to purchase, but also produces subject engaged in constant self-monitoring. Therefore, the ad is not only marketing a beauty product, it's also promoting a refined globalized aesthetic by forcibly bending high-end to Western beauty. East Asia advertising is far from neutral. It's a reproduction of cultural power, using Western discourse to shape how women are expected to become. Beauty is transformed into self-monitoring process of self-quantification and self-qualification, in which personal values is measured through the external standard. In this Polaroid commercial, the woman posed playfully with carefully manicured nails, refined makeup, and loose flowing hair. She lifted the camera to capture a photo of herself lying in the grass. The resulting image appears wetter, softer, and cleaner. The slightly warm-toned further enforces an atmosphere of the pleasure and idealization. This scenario illustrates the logic of self-quantification. The woman in the ad uses the Polaroid image to validate her own beauty. The final photograph becomes an external standard, stability tell her what kind of its beauty is worth to capturing. Yet, what she is looking at the version of herself that is being filtered and authentically correct. Therefore, this ad packages Western-style wetness, soft lighting, and idealized atmosphere as a kind of beauty one should be aspired to. It encourages women to continually self-monitor and self-compare while viewing the photograph. The ad demonstrates how technological filtered imagery leads the consumer to internalize aesthetic standard and define from the outside. Movies' concept of the male gaze argues the mainstream visual media positioned woman as an object to be looked at. Construction in power relations through the camera techniques and the viewing practice. The gaze functions as a medium that extends macro-level generated power and the media structure into individuals' macro-level experience of self-worth and the body. In Jenny and the Calvin Klein 2023 campaign, the camera rapidly uses slow push-ins and the close-up to film her shoulders, waist, leg, and the lips. The imagery emphasizes soft lighting, bare skin, aesthetic, and the bodily contour, turning Jenny's sensual body into main object of visual attention. Even though Jenny is a global female celebrity, the filming places her in a position of the being looked at. The camera-controlled her body is presented, while viewers are positioned as the ones who gaze. This aligns directly with male-female gaze. The female body is examined, eroticized, and transformed into a visual commodity, while the economy of looking. At a macro level, this reflects how fashion industry relies on women's bodies to convey sexuality and desire as a part of its commercial model. At the macro level, it influences how individual viewers understand the value of their own body. Who gets to look, who is looked at, who approved, who is disapproved, are all defined within this visual structure. Thus, this advertisement transfers macro-level gender power, beauty norms, and the commercial logic into macro-level bodily perception and the self-identity through the structure of the gaze. Jenny as a celebrity is both symbol of behind the power of the industry and a subject of the gaze. The globalized media and the fashion industry, the gaze operates as a medium of continually shape female subjectivity, affecting how women are viewed, evaluated, and even how they perceive their own body. In Marx's concept commodity fetishism, commodities are often endowed with a symbolic value that exceeds their practical use. Within this representational value, what consumer pursue is not the clothing itself, but the identity, idealized lifestyle, and the imagined subjectivity that commodity represents. In true Korean fashion advertisement, the scene is crafted to be dreamy and cute, with bright pastel pink tones. This visual atmosphere makes the clothing appear as a symbol of the light, sweet, and the healing lifestyle. The material qualities of the clothing are downplayed, and instead of infused with emotional value. In the advertisements, the clothes are no longer simply fabric. They become a way to attain girlish charm, a light and effortless lifestyle, and an ideal version of oneself. Consumers are led to believe that possessing these products, they can attain the cuteness and the dreamlike identity presented in the ad. Therefore, true advertisement construct an idealized dream world aesthetic, making consumer desire not the Korean style clothes itself, but the emotional value and the identity that the ad attaches to it. Its age advertising is not only selling authentic, it is selling an idealized subject and lifestyle, pushing consumers to actively bind commodity with their self-worth, enforcing authentic power and the cultural categories. Today, East Asia advertising sell more than whitening skin products, cosmetics, or lifestyle. It's really selling a worldview. In their visual language, modern and futuristic remained implicitly linked to Western aesthetics positioning. Western-coded beauty as the natural default through the facial features, lighting, skin color, and the body posture. Advertising is the both marketing strategy and a system of a cultural hegemony slightly shape our aesthetic and even what we should be. Although we are now seeing a great deal of global interest in East Asia culture, such as K-beauty, Chinese-style nail arts, and the even emergence of more and more brands endorsed by the K-pop idols, such as Boss, which features as coups in its advertising. These trends are often temporary. Once the crisis wears off, the world returns to a Western-dominated aesthetic hierarchy. So the real question is, what happens when the face of culture sees reflected in the mirror no longer resemble its own? How do you see yourself when you are expected expected to become someone else. Our video aims to make viewer pause and scrutinize the power structure behind these images. We don't reject Western aesthetics. We want people to recognize who defines beauty, who is influenced, who lost their voice.